apologize in advance for the somewhat dim and muted quality of this video. I know my set is no more, and I know that the lighting isn't the greatest. I'm working on it. I'm currently redesigning my set, so just bear with me, people. Things will get a little bit better. But for now, let's talk about Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves is a crime thriller heist movie that is directed by Christian Gudegast, I think is his name, and it stars a host of people you've probably heard of before, including Gerard Butler, and it stars Pablo Schreiber, and it stars Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and it stars O'Shea Jackson Jr., or as the people in my theater seem to want to refer to him as. Oh, ain't that Ice Cube, son? That's Ice Cube's boy. Cheddar Bob is in this movie for what it's worth. So, like I said, this is a heist movie, and this is a heist movie that follows a crew of people led by Pablo Schreiber and 50 Cent, and they're trying to take down the Federal Reserve Bank, which, in case you guys haven't heard, is a pretty big deal. Gerard Butler is the leader of an elite task force, a major crimes unit that's trying to track these thieves, these criminals down, and trying to stop them before they're able to pull off this big-ass heist. We have a butting of heads. We have criminals versus cops who were kind of marketed to be criminals, but if you actually watch the movie, they're not really criminals. I'm just saying, if you've seen the trailer for this movie, it's kind of bait and switch. Okay, so, I have a simple question for the movie-going audience out there. What the hell is going on? It's January, people. January is supposed to be a landfill of shit. It's supposed to be where Hollywood movies go to die, but we are like 2.5, 3 weeks into January, and none of the movies have been shit. At least to me, none of them have been shit. It's kind of weird. I figured that one horrible little fart box would come along at this point, but no. We're in the clear because Den of Thieves is really not that bad. I feel like I kind of want to stop reviewing movies right now for January just to continue holding on to this lightning in a bottle feeling that I have reviewing these movies, because I've never felt this way halfway through January, where there's just not a whole bunch of bad shit on screen. Talk about what works best in this movie. Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler is easily the best thing about this movie. I have been very critical of Gerard Butler in the last few years for taking on roles that have kind of sent his career towards that shitty region, that nether region of Hollywood where you're kind of close to being irrelevant compared to your past great work. He plays a dick, an ass, a douchebag in this movie, and he does a really good job of pulling that character off. He's the character that you identify more with. I mean, he has the most personality, he has the most natural charisma of anyone else in this cast. All the other cast members in the movie were fine. They were functional. They worked well for what the movie asked of them. I can't really say anyone else in the cast blew me away or was really good or anything, but hey, they were functional. They did what they could. I know that might sound like a criticism, but if you actually peel away the layers of what I'm saying and look deep beneath the surface, it is a criticism, but it's better than saying that they were horrible or ass. The one thing that this movie does really well is tension. This movie does a great job at delivering on suspense and slow burning the tension to a point where you feel like you are gripping your seat in anticipation for what comes next. I gotta give shouts out to Christian Gouda. It's just cheese. I said his name at the beginning of the video. What the hell? How did I forget his name already? Christian, I'm sorry. I'm just going to call you CG. CG, for this movie, did a pretty good job as far as visually the way that he directed things and the sound design for the movie. Did a very good job at making things feel suspenseful when they're supposed to feel suspenseful. I'll also say that there are some very entertaining action sequences in this movie. Really, one in particular that stands out towards the end, which is kind of the climax of the movie. It is visceral, it is gritty, it is exciting. That shootout, that gun battle towards the end of the movie, I mean, that is how it's done, people. If you want a textbook, tension-filled, suspense-filled, awesome-ass, visually exciting gun battle, look at the end of this movie. This movie pulls that off in spades. Unfortunately, in this movie, the pacing is, what's a better word? Okay, no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The pacing in this movie is ass. When I went to the screening, they said the movie was an hour and a half. The movie is actually 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it's a 2 hour and 20 minute movie that somehow feels like it's closer to 3 hours. Some severe pacing issues in this movie. There are a lot of filler and exposition scenes, and scenes that, looking back on it, you feel like didn't really need to be in the movie all that much. You start going through the list, you start looking at this heist movie, you start going, okay, this scene could have been cut out, this scene could have been cut down, this scene Why was that in here? Over and over again, you just feel like things are moving at a very slow burn pace. And I feel like a movie like this, a big heist movie, where you've got Gerard Butler trying to track down this crew of criminals and trying to stop them from robbing the Federal Reserve, I feel like a movie like this would have benefited from a faster pace. That's all I'm saying. Also, a couple of twists and a couple of turns that toward the end of the movie start to collapse under the sheer weight of, no, that doesn't really make all that much sense. I mean, it doesn't break the movie. And sure, you could find little plot holes, I guess they're plot holes or whatever, in almost any movie that comes out. But I'm just saying, once you step back and start thinking about certain things, you start going, well, sure, that makes sense. But if that makes sense, then why did this happen? And if that happened that way, then does any of this really hold up anymore? Again, outside of Gerard Butler, none of the characters really are all that interesting. They're all kind of bland, one-dimensional characters, which I guess is par for the course for a low-budget crime thriller like this. As in the end, I ultimately had a fun time watching Den of Thieves. I'm surprised to say it's not garbage. Den of Thieves was an enjoyable time at the movie, so I'll give it Man of Steel, Golden Age. Guys, those are my thoughts on Den of Thieves. So tell me, have you seen it? Are you going to see it? Let me know what your favorite heist movie is down below in the comment section. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show. And as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel. And stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.